Many believers and non-believers alike think the Bible and similar ancient texts were created by man to provide an explanation as to why and how we got here. For some, the reasons and writing are divinely ordained. For others, the stories and myths told through these texts were written to make the unexplained a little more explainable. The Book of Enoch is one such ancient text. Enoch barely gets a nod in the Bible. He is acknowledged as an ancestor to Noah, and that's about it. But his own book tells a story of demons, archangels, and giants. According to the text, a group of angels called Watchers taught humans a trove of unholy concepts, and God imprisoned them deep inside the earth as punishment. While the Book of Enoch doesn't specify where exactly on earth the Watchers lie dormant, some conspiracy theorists, notably Stephen Ben-Nun, think the fallen angels of Enoch have been imprisoned in the Antarctic ice, are still alive, and are waiting for their redemption. While this isn't the first creepy Antarctica story to surface, it's definitely the most devout. The Book of Enoch shares some stories and characters with the Bible. The Book of Enoch is an ancient text thought to have been lost for centuries. It is not part of biblical scripture since it is not officially recognized by Judaism or Christianity. This ancient text was discovered in the 18th century by explorer James Bruce, but had been part of smaller Ethiopian Christian and Jewish sects since at least around 160 BCE. The Book of Enoch is lengthy text, coming in at 5 volumes and 108 chapters. It contains references to angels, giants, and some other supernatural beings. No one knows for sure why it is not part of the Old or New Testament canons, but it was popular among ancient peoples, and there are some references to the beings Enoch describes in the King James Bible. In the Book of Enoch, 200 angels fell from grace. In the Book of Enoch, Enoch, a 7th-generation human after Adam and Noah's great-grandfather, reveals how fallen angels, known as Watchers, came down from heaven full of lust for mortal women and in rebellion against God. While still in heaven, Watchers were given the task of keeping an eye on the human race. They were to report to God regarding humanity's progress, but they were told never to intervene in the natural evolution laid out by the Creator. Despite this, the Watchers were taken by the beauty of humanity and came down from heaven full of lust for mortal women and a need to choose wives from among the children of men and beget children. 200 angels came to earth in search of carnal pleasure. Once the Watchers arrived, they continued to ignore God's decree and instead taught humans many things, including how to forge arms and jewelry. Eventually, they incurred God's wrath for ignoring his word. The Watchers sired the Nephilim, a race of giants who were both angel and human. The Watchers landed at Mount Hermon, on the border of modern Lebanon and Syria. In the King James Bible, Genesis 6:1-5 may describe how the Watchers interbred with humans to create a new race of giants. When men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and took them wives of all which they chose. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. These human-angel hybrids are called the Nephilim in the Book of Enoch, and they grew to be giants at 3,000 ells tall. Humanity learned practices from the angels that led them to corruption and eventual destruction. The Nephilim, together with the Watchers, taught the human race about pagan practices and other skills that simultaneously advanced civilization and corrupted humanity. As the Book of Enoch explains, from these teachings arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Azazel, the leader of the Watchers, taught men to make tools for war and women to make themselves more attractive with jewelry and cosmetics. Shemyaza taught magical spells. Armaros taught the banishment of those spells. The angel Barakajal taught astrology. Kokabiel gave humans knowledge of astronomy. Chazakiel taught them about weather. Shamsiel gave humans knowledge of the sun cycles. Sariel taught them the lunar cycles. Penemuel instructed humanity to read and write, and Kashtajan gave humanity the knowledge medicine. Enoch tried to intervene between the angels and God. When God saw what the fallen angels and their offspring were doing, he warned Enoch there was going to be a great flood that would wipe out the entirety of humankind. God said he'd spare Enoch from this future scenario and invited him to heaven to witness what was coming. Enoch, acting as an intermediary between God and the fallen angels, told the Watchers what God had in store for them. The lead fallen angel, Azazel, asked Enoch to intervene and beg God for mercy on the Watchers' behalf. God refused the plea, and the Great Flood occurred, as did the fallen angel's imprisonment. When the flood occurred in the King James Bible, Noah, Enoch's descendant, and his family were spared from death. A battle between angelic good and evil ensued. After the Watchers, their wives, and the Nephilim brought humans knowledge that led them away from God, their corruption and rebellious ways could no longer be overlooked by the Almighty. According to the Book of Enoch, righteous angels came to earth to fight the fallen angels, and the Watchers were quickly defeated. As punishment for their digressions, the fallen angels were shackled and banished by God to Tartarus, a prison where they await their redemption. According to Bible scholar and conservative activist Stephen Ben-Nun, Tartarus may be located deep beneath the Antarctic. Antarctica has always been shrouded in mystery. Antarctica, the coldest, driest, and most barren continent on the planet, is said to hold secrets that have yet to be discovered as of 2019. This once tropical land is now mostly covered in ice and has been the subject of mystery ever since the South Pole was formally discovered in the early 20th century. According to scientists, underneath the thick sheets of ice are mountain ranges, lakes, and ancient microbes in a state of suspended animation. In 2006, NASA announced it found an electromagnetic anomaly that stretches 151 miles across in the Wilkes Land area of Antarctica. This unknown mass is generally thought to be contained in a 300-mile-wide impact crater from a meteorite that struck the continent and potentially caused the Permian-Triassic extinction about 250 million years ago. While it could be nothing more than a natural entity, conspiracy theorists like Stephen Ben-Nun believe it is where the fallen angels are imprisoned. A YouTube commentator thinks the fallen angels are alive and imprisoned below the ice in Wilkes Land, Antarctica. Stephen Ben-Nun, a conservative commentator for the Israeli News Live YouTube channel, believes the massive object deep in the Antarctic ice causing a gravitational disturbance is actually the fallen angels and their offspring imprisoned by God, but still very much alive. He cites passages in the Book of Enoch to bolster his theory, including 1 Enoch 18:1-16. And I went towards the south, and it was burning day and night, where there were 7 mountains of precious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. This could describe Antarctica in the summer season, which has nearly 24 hours of daylight. Enoch also describes a mountain range of 7 mountains, which Ben-Nun believes is the Sentinel Mountain Range. Stephen Ben-Nun's hypothesis about the angels corresponds with the Earth's pole shifts. Mist Vinson is the highest mountain in Antarctica and sits in the middle of the Sentinel Range. Conservative activist and advocate for Israel, Stephen Ben-Nun speculates the southern and eastern alignment of 6 peaks around Mount Vinson, as described in the Book of Enoch, are the range's alignment prior to the Great Flood that occurred around the same time as a shifting of the Earth's axis. This coincides with research conducted by Charles Hapgood, author of Earth's Shifting Crust, who believed such pole shifts were a regular occurrence and could explain a myriad of geological anomalies. The pole shift Ben-Nun references likely occurred around 11,000 years ago and may have changed Antarctica's climate as well. While Hapgood didn't explicitly reference the Watchers, he did admit the source of the shifts likely resided beneath the Antarctic ice sheets, though he had no clear idea of what it could be. Beyond this, the parallels between Hapgood and Ben-Nun's work are few and far between. A mysterious, icy staircase was found on Google Earth in 2017. In 2017, another frozen anomaly was spotted in the Wilkes Land area, an icy staircase that could be seen on Google Earth. Some conspiracy theorists believe the staircase was built by the Nephilim, who had the superior knowledge and strength to do so. Others think the structure was built by aliens or superior past civilizations, and some theorists even believe the Nazis constructed a landing strip there for UFOs. This theory is bolstered by a 2016 trip taken by former Secretary of State John Kerry to observe climate change patterns in the area. A month later, Patriarch Kirill of the Russian Orthodox Church made the trip to the area to see wildlife. Many believe the reasons for both trips are covers for something that could have a much more significant impact on humanity. Antarctic extraterrestrials and the Nephilim may be one in the same. Secret space program whistleblower Corey Goode says he has been to Antarctica and has seen remnants of an ancient civilization of giants with elongated skulls he calls pre-Adamites. Goode claims 3 massive oval-shaped spaceships are located near these ruins, and the pre-Adamites were an extraterrestrial race of beings who were frozen in a cataclysmic event. This event around the same time as Hapgood's polar shift had. Might these frozen giants be the Nephilim as described in the Book of Enoch? The imprisoned fallen angels may get redemption in the year of mystery. Enoch mentions a year of mystery that could hint at the Watchers' release and the end of days. There are 2 different schools of thought about when and if the fallen angels will be released from their shackles. Some believe we are already in the last days, as prophesied by the Book of Revelation. If this is true, the fallen angels are out of prison wreaking havoc on earth and will do so until Judgment Day. Others believe they are still waiting in the ice to fulfill prophecy and will be released as Armageddon approaches. The anime Neon Genesis Evangelion may also reference the fallen Watchers. Released in 1995, the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion seems to eerily predict the supposition posed by Ben-Nun over a decade later. On the show, a group of malignant angels descend upon the planet Earth, some of which are imprisoned beneath the Arctic tundra. On the show, the return of the angels is prophesied in the Dead Sea Scrolls, another prominent Gnostic text. Interestingly enough, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in real life, they were found to contain fragments of the Book of Enoch. With this in mind, it's possible the casual references to angels mentioned on Evangelion are in fact the Book of Enoch, and the Day of Mystery will resemble the third impact that occurs during the show's finale. The Frozen Watchers, Antarctica's chilling biblical secret. The Book of Enoch presents one of the most fascinating and disturbing narratives in ancient religious literature. Its account of the Watchers, the Nephilim, and their divine imprisonment reads like a script for an apocalyptic thriller. Yet what makes this text truly compelling are the modern theories suggesting these fallen angels may not be mere legend, but could instead be real entities, frozen in time beneath Antarctica's icy wasteland. The Watchers, angels who defied heaven. Enoch's narrative reveals a shocking celestial rebellion. 200 high-ranking angels abandoned their heavenly posts to indulge in earthly desires. They mated with human women, producing the monstrous Nephilim, giants of unimaginable strength. These renegade angels taught mankind forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, warfare, cosmetics, astrology, and occult arts. Their corruption was so severe it precipitated the Great Flood as divine judgment. This story isn't just ancient myth. It's echoed in Genesis 6 and referenced in Jude 1:6, suggesting early Judeo-Christian communities took these accounts seriously. Antarctica, the modern Tartarus. The Book of Enoch describes the Watchers' prison in terrifying detail. A place of fire burning day and night. Enoch 18:1-16. 7 mountains, possibly matching Antarctica's Sentinel Range. A subterranean abyss where the fallen await final judgment. Conspiracy researcher Ben-Nun makes a startling case that this prison isn't metaphorical, it's literal and located beneath Antarctic ice. His evidence includes NASA's Wilkes Land Anomaly, a 151-mile-wide electromagnetic disturbance detected in 2006. Could this be the energy signature of imprisoned celestial beings? The mysterious icy staircase. Discovered on Google Earth in 2017. Perfect geometric formations suggesting artificial construction. Potential entrance to a subterranean prison. Corey Goode's alleged encounter. Claims of discovering pre-Adamite giants with elongated skulls. 3 massive buried spacecraft near the ruins. Frozen remains dating to a cataclysmic pole shift event. Pole shifts and prophetic timelines. Charles Hapgood's crustal displacement theory suggests Antarctica was once temperate before a sudden pole shift around 12,000 years ago, the same era as the Great Flood, the destruction of Atlantis Lemuria, the imprisonment of the Watchers. Enoch's Year of Mystery prophecy hints this frozen prison may one day open. Are we seeing signs of this in increased elite activity in Antarctica? Kerry, Putin, Patriarch Kirill. Strange electromagnetic phenomena, melting ice revealing ancient structures, popular culture's ominous warnings. The parallels between Enoch's narrative and modern fiction are unsettling. Neon Genesis Evangelion's angels emerging from Antarctica. The X-Files alien colonists frozen in Antarctic ice. At the Mountains of Madness depicting ancient buried horrors. These stories suggest our collective unconscious remembers something terrifying buried at the bottom of the world. Theological implications. Are we living in the year of mystery? Two terrifying possibilities emerge. The Watchers are already free, explaining today's surge in occultism, genetic experimentation, and transhumanism. They remain imprisoned, but their influence leaks through the ice, corrupting mankind in preparation for Armageddon. The Dead Sea Scrolls' inclusion of Enoch suggests early believers considered this text crucial end-times knowledge. Its exclusion from modern Bibles may have been intentional to hide uncomfortable truths about our past and future. Conclusion: the ice is speaking. Antarctica is no longer just a frozen desert. It's become the focal point for scientific anomalies, elite pilgrimages, ancient astronaut theories, biblical prophecies. Whether one views Enoch's account as divine truth or allegorical warning, its central message resonates today more than ever. There are forces beyond our understanding that once walked among us and may do so again. As the ice melts and secrets emerge, humanity may soon face its most shocking revelation yet. We are not alone, and we never were. The Watchers sleep, but for how much longer? The truth is buried, but not dead. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. I love hearing from you. Check out more videos on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.